Fenix PD22. This is an updated version of the very popular Fenix PD20, which I've been carrying for years and lost. I thought I lost it on a flight, and I'd always kind of wanted to upgrade or update to the PD22, but didn't know if I could really justify it already having the PD20. So when I lost this, I thought, well, there's my chance. Picked this up, and then after several weeks of searching, finally found this in a bag. Always the last place you look, I guess. Well, since you stop looking after that. But, so now that I have them both, thought I'd make a little video showing you the PD22, showing you my thoughts between the two, which one's better, which one I like better, I guess. It's going to be a personal preference in the end. But let's have a look at the PD22. Comes with the standard Fenix stuff, standard Fenix packaging, standard belt case, standard lanyard, and extra O-ring for those of you that are extra hard on your O-rings. I don't know, but I've never gone through one, never had a problem with one in my life. But there's the packaging. Get that out of the way. Let's have a look at the light. There are two versions of this light. There's the regular PD22 and the PD22 S2. The regular one is 190 lumens. The S2 is 200 lumens. Your eye is in no way going to be able to tell a difference in that 10 lumens, so don't fret that. But, you know, more is always better, of course, right? So I got the 200 lumen version. Street price on this is about $56, give or take a couple dollars depending on where you find it. Uses for this, well, it's small. It is a great everyday carry light, but because of the forward click design with this, you can use it in a weapon type role if you were going to use it to, you know, with your gun and that type of role, or if you just like the everyday carry purpose of having the forward click design. So some updates there. Case for this, standard stuff. I'll just get some of this out of the way to start with. Standard stuff, standard aerospace grade aluminum, type 3 hard anodized coating, IPX8 rated, all normal Fenix stuff. Note on the the water rating, the IPX8. My PD20, I've put through the washing machine 4 or 5 times accidentally in my pocket, and other than coming out a little bit cleaner, it is no worse for the wear. I know that's kind of a meager water torture, but fret not. If you get it wet, it will do just fine. Size and weight on this, again, just to get some of these specs out of the way, I'll put them up on the side here, the numbers. 89 millimeters long, 21.5 across, and with no battery, weighs in at 44 grams. Speaking of the battery, it is a single CR123 battery, which is here under the head. Oops. The head is about half the size of the flashlight. Single CR123 goes in there. The threads here are squared off, trapezoidal, rhombic, not rhombic, but trapezoidal or at least squared off threads, which are going to give them a little bit more strength. And then there's an O-ring back here. Let's have a look at the construction a little bit more in detail, back to front as always. On the back, it has the tail button here. And this tail button is a forward click, momentary on type tail button. For those of you that are not familiar with that, what that is you can half press it and the light comes on. Or you can full press it and click the light on to stay on. So momentary on or full on, and that is a new feature with this. Because that tail button sticks out a little bit, it doesn't tail stand as well, but you can take just a little bit more effort and it will tail stand by resting it on one of these flat edges here. There is right here a hole for the lanyard, if you like to put through there. If you're going to use your own lanyard, you're going to have to use a small one because that hole's pretty small, but it does come with the lanyard. You can use the stock one that comes with it. Moving down, the pocket clip here, standard Fenix pocket clip. It's a deep carry pocket clip, which I like. Rounded off here, so for the most part, you're not going to really have any underclip issues. You can rotate it around, you can remove it if you just want to throw this in your pocket. I find that it seems to fit most flush with the part back here, most flush when you rotate it onto one of these flat surfaces here, and it locks into there a little bit and sits very flush. Some rhombic knurling back here, standard Fenix stuff. A little bit more forward here, there are these sort of scallopings, and that will prevent it from rolling away. Forward of that onto the head is the button. This is how you change the brightness levels. This is new with the user interface on this, and I'll get into that in a little bit with the user interface, but that is how you change the levels of brightness instead of on the tail cap like on the PD20 and some of the older Fenix models. Up onto the head here, smooth head with some crenellations on the tip. Could you use it as a striking weapon? You know, it's not very big, so it's not going to stick very far out of your hand unless you really choke up on it. So not great for that, but when the light is on, can give you a little bit of an idea that the light's on if you set it down that way, for whichever either of those are worth. Up in the head here, it has the Cree XPG S2 LED. I am by no means an LED guru. Maybe some of you Candle Power Forum types can chime in on that. Has the smooth reflector compared to a textured reflector that the PD20 had, and the glass lens is anti-reflective coated to let as much light through as possible. When you turn this on, the beam stutters a little bit. I don't know if you'll be able to see this on the camera, but you can see it does a little stutter step there. Can you see that? Low bright. It's like just a, whoops. It's like just a tenth of a second. So I've noticed it, other people have noticed it, thought I would just mention it to you in case you notice it on yours. I'm not sure if it's supposed to do that or not. If anyone knows, chime in the comments. Next, let's have a look at the user interface. So the user interface is different on this compared to the older Fenix models that everything was done from the tail cap and rotating the head. On this one, it's done with this side press button. Now to use that, you have to do a different type of grip with the light because you're going to have to be actuating this button. So you can hold it with the overhand to turn the light on, and then somehow you have to get to that button. So I think the most handy way to do this is that you put the pocket clip so that you know where that button is in relation to it all the time. It's always in the same spot. So I know that if the pocket clip rather is on the top when I wrap my hand around, that button is going to be right there by my ring finger. So the two options for ways to do this: turn it on, do it with one of your fingers, or turn it on and then change your grip over into the old school, like you're carrying a big mag light, and do it with your thumb. So the user interface with the brightnesses, I'll throw the numbers up on the up on the side here, but it has 4 levels of brightness, 8 lumens for 97 hours, 46 lumens for 10 hours, 95 lumens for 4 hours and 32 minutes, and 200 lumens for 2 hours. It does have 2 hidden modes, a strobe and an SOS. The way you get to those is with the side button here. To get to the strobe, you hold it down for 1 second, and it goes into the strobe. The strobe is variable, so it goes fast and slow. And then to get to the SOS, you hold it down for 3 seconds, and it goes into the SOS mode. And then when you press back out of it, you just single press it, and it goes back into whatever level of brightness it was in when you went into it. This also has memory. So whichever level you turn the light off at, that's the level it's going to come back on. So here it is on high, off, back on. If I put it into low mode, off, and you can see back on into low mode. Quick comparison between this and the PD20. Size-wise, you can see it's pretty close. The PD22 is just about a centimeter longer. I think it's a ½ millimeter thinner, so really not much significance there. But there's the difference in the length between the two. I looked for that a long time before I got this, trying to find some pictures of the two. Couldn't find any. And so there it is for all of you. Pretty similar in size. In your pocket, you're for the most part not going to notice this extra, centimeter. Otherwise, pretty similar. The other differences obviously are going to be in the tail button. PD20, you can tail stand a little bit easier. They have the same pocket clip. PD20 obviously has the old user interface where you tighten and twist the head to go from low to bright. And also the PD20 doesn't have, the modes aren't hidden for the strobe and the SOS. I definitely prefer them to be hidden as they are on this, because you're, 99% of the time you probably don't need the strobe and the SOS. So I like the fact that they're hidden. On the levels of brightness, Fenix needs to fix their levels of brightness because 8 lumens is honestly too bright for a low output. It really needs to have a low of 4 lumens or less. In a movie theater or in a hotel room, 8 lumens is like turning the sun on. So they need to fix that. One more comparison here is the PD20 or the PD31 size comparison there. If you have that, obviously a lot bigger, but this is a 2 battery light. Now how about my thoughts on just my overall thoughts? Do I like the side user interface now, the change, it's not really good or bad. It's just different. It's something you have to get used to. I don't find it to be that hard to get to it with my ring finger there. It is easier if you can do everything with your thumb. For my purposes, the memory I don't care for. That's going to be very much a personal preference, but I like knowing where the light is going to come on. And for the most part, I can't remember where the light was when I turned it off. And in a movie theater, I don't want to accidentally turn it on at 200 lumens. 8 lumens is going to be plenty bright as it is. If you're using it with a weapon and you want it to always come on at 200 lumens, well, great, the memory is going to work out well for you. For my purposes, the memory is nice, but I never know where it's coming on. So there you have it, the Fenix PD22, one of the newer offerings from Fenix, updated version of the very popular PD20, which I think is one of the great everyday carry lights. This is a nice addition to it, so if you like some of these new features with the memory, with the forward click design, and you don't mind this the side click button with the interface, check one out. It is a great little light.